know that, right? So actually, they haven't proven anything.
Okay, now
Japan's going like this, and last year we had a decline in China where the economy slipped down. So from my perspective, the U.S., the West has proven themselves. We've developed the internet and all these technologies. China hasn't done anything yet.
No.
And
you see, the good thing about China, I tell you why the Chinese is smart this time around.
But the Americans.
Your view in the 80s, I agree entirely. In the 80s, I was a bit skeptical. Now, after I went to Shanghai and Beijing, I think it's just a matter of time. It's a matter of time. You just progress there is tremendous. You got to go there and believe and see.
But part of it's foreign investment too, right? It's not a self-sustaining economy, right?
But that one is, it's just like, for example, when I was in Sweden, I was very interested in Swedish creativity, the Viking culture, how the Viking actually influenced. I was trying to trace it back, whether there's Viking roots to this innovation. Right, and of course the Viking when they designed the boat, the Viking designed a boat that's symmetrical. So actually Viking Art of War is not that much different from Sun Tzu Art of War. Nobody bothered to write a book on Viking Art of War. The Viking Scandinavia had to survive, right, water and islands, right? And the Viking boat is symmetrical. Exactly the same, the front and the back. Right, so that they can either go through, and they go in the river and there's no queue. The flexibility is very important. And the emphasis, when they cannot win, they can withdraw. Right? And that helped also in innovation, in creativity. So I was trying to link the two together. Okay, now, but your key question really is this, right? I do not want to predict. Prediction, I'm not a futurist. I only see, and then I see, and then I extrapolate a little bit. I'm surprised by the pace of change in China. The good thing about China is that in the past, they never keen to learn from the West. They believe they are, the word for you, China is 中国. What that means is central. We are the central country. China in history has never invaded any country.
What about Vietnam?
That was punishment. Slapped in the face. They were part of the, vassal state.
朔江旋即被攻克了，拿下了朔江，东线部队又从西北向高。
Now, let me tell you why they don't believe in conquering. They have long-term strategy. Assimilation is a strategy. The Mongols conquered, become part of, right? The Tibetans used to conquer, part of China. Manchu conquered, part of. So actually, maybe long-term thinking, Japan should let the Japanese win the Second World War, because Dongting will really be Dongting, in the sense that no longer central, no longer capital. Japan will be part of China, because the sea create a lot of problems. They assimilate. The sea prevents the cultural assimilation. Now, so the Chinese in the past have never been willing to learn from the West. So the argument is very simple. 2,500 years ago, right, the Chinese were already living in palaces with waterfalls. In the West, in Germany, they were living in caves and trees. Roman history. Right? When the Romans went to the age of Germany, and now German technology is the most advanced. Britain probably didn't exist, I don't know. So what I'm saying, 2,500 years shield, you see. Now the good thing about China, they're prepared to learn, they're prepared to absorb. It has never happened before throughout Chinese history. Chinese has always been that they are number one. They invented the paper, they created the compass, or they travel around the world. The Ming Emperor didn't want external influences. In fact, for the Chinese to go overseas is terrible. They're not travelers. They're not the mentality of explorers. They're farming. They like to stay in community. They like, the punishment to how you punish a guy to the Western, be how nice I can go and explore a new land is to put you into a place that's far away. So this is the part you must realize that this is, and of course the Chinese never encourage innovators. They want stability. They don't want to upset the hierarchy, stabilizing it. So when you have things like entrepreneur and technology, it upsets the place. You see. right? So, and of course the patent system was invented by the French, very fair. You invent it, you get, nobody just copy it, but in computation time, I mean, the whole idea is reputation. So when you create a work and people read the work and copy your work, you should be grateful that people are copying your work, right? So I think this is East and West interesting contrast, right? But I think China should balance learning from America, West too much from America. They should learn from the Swedish too. The Swedish model, I think, although it's like communist country, right, in a way, because the social welfare system is so, you work there and they take 70% away on tax, but Swedish is a more egalitarian model. So I think, so from that point of view, whether, okay, you're right, okay, but internet was invented by accident. It happened in Bern, right? The guy actually, it was created by scientists for rapid information, right? Nobody, this guy, I forgot his name now, second name. The guy who invented the internet, right, created it out of an institution in Switzerland because they needed, it was in physics lab. They did all this testing, of the particle, atomic particle. And they need to communicate results so they will not be repeating the same experiment. So that every scientific research, so it was actually built for the scientists to solve a problem. So the innovation in America, right, is interesting. Of course, you invented the canning. America is basically driven by individuals. But the society of America, the economy of America is very different from China. For example, okay, right, by my name alone, the Chinese could trace my ancestry. Even I don't know about it. Right? Maybe the Chinese here they can confirm for me, right? They're the one who told me, right, my surname is FOO Check, right? They can tell me exactly when the name was invented. And from this down, my ancestor name is Gong Ya. And Gong Ya was the imperial seal keeper, the Qing emperor. Qing emperor is the first emperor in China. Seal keeper is what? Imperial seal keeper. In ancient China, in order to, Qing emperor devised a system, in order to move an army, you must use a seal. You follow? Right? So seal keeper is very powerful. Right? He gave the name, alright, Qing Shi Huang gave the name to Gong Ya and said, since you're taking care of the imperial seal, Fu is the power, the symbol of power. It's like to chop the seal in the bank. Right. Then we give you the name Fu. That's how it started. Now, I'm the 70th generation descendant of my ancestor in Gong Ya. So I tell you it's interesting because then I have a genetic explanation why I'm interested in strategy. Yes?
Sir, I have a different question. The nature as a benchmark, could you just quickly give us an example of that?
Nature means to say that, I will explain it in CISCO very clearly. In other words, what animal you use to sort of simulate your thinking, simulate your performance. Like for example, how do you achieve like coordination, right? Sun Tzu gave an example of a snake, right? When an army, right, how do you improve the coordination? Right, Sun Tzu says that, right, when you attack the head of a snake, the tail will hit you from behind. Right. That was a very good coordinator. I'll give you another example of Mao Zedong afterwards. Of teamwork.
Okay, great.
Yeah. In detail, I'll go in detail, right?
Right.
Good. So, okay, so we are, right, so it's a very different society. I myself was stunned to know all this that is possible. It keeps us your hearts.